Dr. Govind Kesi, a name synonymous to medical education reforms in the country, has warned of waging another round of hunger strike, demanding that the affiliation provided by CTVT to different health institutions, seat allocation and admission process need to be scrapped. The Medical Reforms Crusader has given a mid-August deadline to correct the government decision, citing that efforts are underway to topple the Medical Education Act. Dr. Kesi has also urged the government to implement the past agreements signed with him for medical reforms. Good evening, I'm Sarah Sapsanama. Let's begin with the headlines of the hour. CPN-UML sticks with its demand for high-level committee to probe gold smuggling scam. Investigation arrows into political connections. Online and quota system minimize crowd, but license distribution still sluggish. Some 400,000 service seekers wait for their licenses. Saudi Arabia takes the initiative to end Russia-Ukraine war. Russia won't be a part of peace talks involving 30 nations. Australia keep World Cup dream alive with win over Olympic champions Canada. Nigeria also through. Japan send out World Cup warning with a crushing victory over Spain. The House of Representatives session called for today has been adjourned till tomorrow after main opposition CPN-UML warned of continuing obstruction at the lower house until a high-level committee was formed to probe into the recent gold scandal. General Secretary at the Federal Parliament, Bharatraj Gautam, following a directive from Speaker Devraj Khemire, informed that the session had been adjourned. Earlier, CPN-UML had informed the Speaker it would encircle the rostrum and obstruct session until the committee was formed. Speaker Khemire has, however, already held a meeting with leaders at the Parliament to support for the resumption of the House session. Speaker Khemire has also held consultations with Deputy Prime Minister and Home Minister Narayan Kaji Shrestha. Speaker Khemire was compelled to adjourn this session at the lack of positive feedback from CPN-UML. Earlier today, Prime Minister Pushpa Kamal Dahal also held a discussion with UML Chair KP Sharma Oli in line with the House obstructions. During the meeting, Oli had remained firm with its party's stand. Following his unsuccessful meeting with Oli, Premier Dahal had held consultations with chief whips of other parties at the Parliament. During the meeting, Premier Dahal took stock of the progress in formulating laws related to transitional justice. The chief whips meanwhile informed the Premier that the subcommittee formed by the Parliament's Justice, Laws and Human Rights Committee had concluded deliberations on the laws and was preparing its report. They had also drawn the Premier's attention towards the delay in appointing parliamentary committee chairs, saying it had affected overall efficiency. The Revenue Investigation Department has arrested 18 individuals, including 3 nationals of Chinese origin, in the 100-kilogram gold scam. It is rather unnatural to see Chinese connection of late in the instances of gold smuggling. In the meantime, the political connection of these Chinese nationals provides serious concern for deliberations. The Revenue Investigation Department raided capital's Tamil-based Hotel Vienna. The hotel is in the name of Rolpa's Amala Roca, while its real owner is Dawa Chiring, a Belgian of Chinese origin. Chiring is now been arrested on charges of his involvement in the gold smuggling. Married to Amala Roca, his recent photographs with Maoist leader Barsamanpun has given way to speculations of his political connection. According to the department, Chiring might have played the role of the management of the smuggled gold. It may be recalled that when Nepal police arrested a group of 122 individuals who were running a call center in Kathmandu to swindle Chinese nationals, Chiring was found to be the leader of that group. The department believes that Chiring has now switched to gold smuggling following the police raid on his call center in 2019. In the meantime, his connection has been established with Maoist leader Barsamanpun to Dipesh Pun, the son of former Vice President Nanda Bahadur Pun. Another Chinese national of Indian origin, Lim Jikuan, has been stationed in Nepal for quite long, as Chinese involvement was also revealed in the gold smuggled in vape containers. The arrested Chinese national at the time is also known to have connections with Rahul Mahara, the son of another Maoist leader, Krishna Bahadur Mahara. However, the district court had dismissed the case, citing lack of evidence. The repeated resurfacing of the names of political leaders only favors speculations of political connection in the latest cases of gold smuggling. It's time now for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
public poll.
But before today's question, let's take a look at the results from yesterday's poll. Yesterday, we'd asked you, why has the government attempt at putting a ban on plastic bags with less than 40 micron width not succeeded? 35% voted for option A, poor implementation, 50% for B, no alternative, and 15% for C, lack of awareness. And here's today's question. What's your take on the demand for the formation of a high-level committee to prove the gold smuggling scam? Your options are A, positive initiative, B, present probe is enough, and C, a ploy to dilly-dally. The voting is on. Type NEWS, select your option A, B, or C, and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. A meeting of the Constitutional Council has been called for tomorrow to recommend the candidate to take the post of Chief Justice once the incumbent CJ Harikrishna Karke retires on 5th of August. Karke is retiring in 5 days based on age limit. Based on the seniority among the 12 justices, Justice Vishwambar Prasad Shrestha is the senior most ranked justice at the Supreme Court and the most likely candidate to back the recommendation. Shrestha is followed in seniority order by Justice duo Ishwar Prasad Khatiwada and Anand Mohan Bhattarai. The Constitutional Council will have to choose among the 12 and recommend to the Parliament to lead the judiciary. At this juncture, experts have highlighted the need to ensure appointing a candidate who would ensure the judicial system is free from political interferences and effective justice delivery. Based on constitutional provisions, the Council must recommend candidate for Chief Justice 1 month ahead of its vacancy. However, the trend of 11th hour rush has remained unchanged. Should the Council decide on a candidate tomorrow, the Parliamentary Hearing Committee will proceed with the hearing and then forward the recommendation to the President for endorsement if the candidate clears any complaints filed against them. Now, crusader for reforms in medical education, Dr. Govinda Kesi has announced of another round of strike, citing that efforts are being made to scrap the provision of Medical Education Act. Organizing a press meet in Kathmandu today, Dr. Kesi announced of starting what he said a satyagraha from 14th of August next month. Dr. Kesi stated that an organized effort is being carried out to weaken the Medical Education Commission and topple the Medical Education Act. He has demanded that the affiliation provided by CTVT to various health institutions, seat allocation and admission process need to be scrapped. Dr. Kesi has also urged the government to implement the agreements reached between him and the government. He has said that he would start the strike from 14th of August if his demands are not met. It may be recalled that Dr. Kesi has waged numerous rounds of hunger strike to put pressure on the government for medical reforms. We'll take a short break here. More news coming up. The Transport Management Office in the Lalitpur's Ekantakuna has over 200,000 driving licenses to distribute. In the past 6 months, the Department of Transport Management has failed to send a single license. Chief of the Transport Management Office of Ekantakuna, Rajkumar Kapali, meanwhile claims they are unable to hand over licenses to service seekers due to delay on part of the department to print licenses. Kapali, however, admitted that service seekers were bearing the brunt of the ongoing inefficiency. There is a matching scenario at the Transport Management Office in Kathmandu's Chabail, where thousands of service seekers are still waiting to get their licenses. Even as the recently implemented online system and daily quota system has helped with crowd management, the office is still struggling to distribute licenses. Service seekers who reach the Chabail office say there is lesser crowd, but the service quality has remained sluggish. The Chabail unit, along with the Transport Management Office in Kathmandu's Thulabaryang, each have 200,000 licenses yet to distribute. The delay has been largely attributed to the department's delay in printing the licenses. Currently, service seekers are using a temporary permit that has a QR code. Apart from this, the country's transport management sector is also impaired by the active involvement of middlemen. Procedural hassles and lack of information, among others, compel them to seek assistance from middlemen to get the services. In this context, in our Public Voice segment, today we've asked in several provinces what should be done to make it easier for the public to get government documents like citizenship, licenses and passports. Let's take a look at what they had to say.
रिसेप्सन जस्तै राखेर एउटा स्टाफ राखेर त्यहाँ कागजहरु के चाहिन्छ त्यो सबै राखेर त्यो एउटा चाहिँ एउटा अलरेडी मान्छे राखिराख्नु पर्छ
सूचना नै टाङ दिनु पर्ने हैन पार्टी पेटीहरुमा या भित्ताहरुमा टाँकिदिनु पर्ने
सहायता केन्द्र भनेर एउटा स्थापना गरिदिनु पर्छ
सहज गराउनको लागि पहिला जानकारी दिनु पर्छ
अनलाइन मार्फत दिनु पर्यो नागरिकता
के भने स्टाफ बढाउनु पर्यो
नेपाल पनि टेक्नोलोजीमा अगाडि बढ्नु पर्यो
गाउँपालिकामै बनाइदिए राम्रो हुन्थ्यो
प्रवृत्ति मैत्री वातावरण सिर्जना गर्नु पर्यो
सेवा लिन जाने मान्छेले आफूलाई के कागजात चाहिन्छ त्यो आफूले लिएर जानुपर्छ
जिल्ला प्रशासनबाट एउटा जस्तो टिम बनाएर पहिला जो नागरिकता वितरण गरिन्थ्यो नि गाउँमा त्यो भइदिएको भए अझ
सेवा दिने निकायहरूले सेवा गराएको हित बमोजिम छिटो छरितो कामहरू गरिदिनु पर्यो
कर्मचारीहरूले अप टु डेट अवस्थामा राख्नु पर्यो
अनलाइन पेमेन्ट सिस्टमहरू भयो भने
वडा पालिकामा नगरमा यसलाई अझ विभाजन गरेर गर्यो भने बढी सहज हुन्छ
आफ्नै वडा पालिकामा लाइसेन्सहरू त्यो नागरिकताहरू वितरण गर्यो भने चाहिँ जनतालाई चाहिँ सहज हुन्छ
नगरपालिका होला अथवा गाउँपालिका होला त्यसमा दिँदा एकदम सहज होला भन्ने कुरा छ
जबसम्म कर्मचारीलाई अतिरिक्त आम्दानीको लालच भइरहन्छ तबसम्म यो सम्भव छ
अनलाइन सिस्टम टाइम कार्डद्वारा र स्थानीय निकायलाई अझ जिम्मा दिएको भए यो सहज हुन्थ्यो
This year's plantation season is nearing its end. However, farmers are yet to access required amount of chemical fertilizers. Lawyers at the House of Representatives too have criticized the government for its failure to ensure timely supply of fertilizers. At the meeting of the Finance Committee today, lawmakers alleged the government of depriving farmers of chemical fertilizers that are already available at the warehouse of Agriculture Input Company. The government has also been alleged of confiscating fertilizers imported from India and lacking sensitivity towards farmers. Meanwhile, Minister for Agriculture and Livestock Development Beduram Pusal dodged the allegations, saying that the government's responsibility is limited to procurement, while the responsibility of distribution of the procured fertilizers was of local levels. Pusal also said the scenario was a result of negligence on part of cooperatives that is responsible for distributing grant fertilizers. The meeting of Finance Committee also dwelt on the pros and cons of establishing a chemical fertilizer plant within the country and adopting natural plantation system. The investment board meanwhile informed that a few foreign companies had expressed interest in investing in a fertilizer factory and that processes to get them on board were underway. It's time now for the international update. Saudi Arabia is preparing to host a summit to discuss Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky's plan for peace in his country amid the ongoing Russian invasion. Andriy Yermak, Zelensky's chief of staff, said that officials from several countries would take part in the Saudi Arabian summit, but did not say when or in which city the meeting will be held. The Wall Street Journal, which first reported on the summit, citing diplomats involved in the discussions, said the talks would take place on August 5th and the 6th in the city of Jeddah, with some 30 countries attending. The journal said Ukrainian and Western officials hope the efforts could culminate in a peace summit later this year, when global leaders would sign up to shared principles for resolving the war. We've got more news coming up, but right now it's time for yet another short break. Welcome back. It's time now for the sports update.
Sports news.
Manish Dange, the emerging striker of Nepali football, has been signed by a Thailand club to play professional football. Manish was contracted by Thailand's second division club, Rayong Football Club. Manish, who was playing A-Division League football from Sankata, was approached through social site. Manish has been an integral part of national squad in recent time and has scored 3 goals in 17 matches. He was introduced into the national team by former coach Abdullah Al-Mutairi and had scored in his debut match against Iraq. Manish has been selected in the close camp for the World Cup qualifiers. Royang, meanwhile, has not revealed the contract amount. Manish has already played in the pre-season warm-up matches for Royang, contributing with 1 assist. Prior to this, Manish had also played the second division league in Bahrain. That is all for the moment. Thank you for watching. Good night.